So I'm going to talk briefly about some of the conflicts of interest that are inherent or endemic in the academic culture. And I'll try to talk around or about three different areas, one of which is the university funding. Another one is the academic tenure process, and another one is, I guess, the culture of the academy. Universities are funded in three ways for the most part. One is by student tuition, another is by alumni donations and other philanthropy. And second is indirect cost recovery. Most people don't know about indirect cost recovery, but when scientists are funded, their research is funded, there's an additional percentage of the money that goes to the university called indirect cost recovery. And each university has an arrangement with the federal government on what their cost recovery is. And some of them, like Duke and Harvard and MIT, have indirect cost recoveries of over 60%. So that means you get funded for $4 million, while another 60% is sent to that institution for its indirect cost recovery, allegedly for rooms that it already has and that it already heats and it already has lights and things like that. It's a huge amount of money that often equals a third of a university or college's budget. And so that's where you see science and research, in fact, having an important impact on the university's financial survival. Another place that you would see it, some of these potential conflicts of interest, would be around the academic tenure process. So tenure is something that is awarded to an individual faculty member by a university of a commitment of lifetime employment. If that faculty member successfully confirms through the tenure process their promise of continued career excellence in three areas: teaching, research, and community service. The people that evaluate a professor undergoing tenure in the teaching area are student evaluations, yes, colleague evaluations from the department, and out of the school colleague evaluations. The research is measured by how many times they've been funded, by how much money and how much indirect cost they bring into the university. Publications, and not just if they've been published, but where they've been published and whether they've had adequate peer review. And then finally, research is evaluated by their colleagues, both within the institution and outside the institution. And community service is evaluated by their work within the discipline and within the university, and sometimes, although rarely, within the surrounding community within which they do research, as opposed to with whom they do research. You can tell I have a lot of biases in this. You have to understand in the academic culture that doctoral degrees signify competence within an academic discipline, and that's determined by an academic institution that is broken down by departments that's made up of disciplines. Each faculty member belongs to a department, at least one, of disciplinary colleagues. Faculty members share their ideas with disciplinary colleagues within their own institution and within other institutions, and faculty members are not encouraged to do multidiscipline research. That is to say that there may be theories within a discipline that you follow more or less because of previous research that was written or preliminary data. But the chances that you'll veer away from what those theories were is slim when you know you have to come up for tenure review, and that among the people that will evaluate you for tenure will be people within your institution, your discipline, and outside in other institutions. So it's a building block process that moves science slowly and along certain long if you were a farmer, troweled places to drop seeds, rather than thinking outside the box, other than having new ideas, other than being creative. And I'm just talking about potential conflicts of interest within the academy, which is the home of where evidence is created, more or less.